Hi everyone, good day. I hope all of you are safe and doing well. Thank you for deciding to watch the video. This is AZB here, as all of you know. This particular video is specially catered to CIMA strategic case study students and any CIMA aspiring students as well who are hoping to take the strategic case study. I decided to do this video specially because results for the May 2020 exams were released a few weeks ago, and since then a lot of students have been writing to me, have been talking to me. I've had a chat with a lot of students about failure, right? About failing students. And when I initially started teaching the strategic case study, started the program called SCS with AZB, one of the key groups of students I worked with was students who failed, right? And in working with them over the years, I've realized the key issues that lead to the failure of a student, which is why I decided to share that knowledge with all of you. And I'm sure that if you pay attention to the details of this video, and if you really grasp what I'm trying to express, what I try to mean, this will be massively helpful, and you will know what kind of not to do when it comes to taking the CIMA strategic case study exam. So let's get started. Yes, so we are prepping for that. At the moment, we are prepping for the August 2020 case study, and this video is titled 5 Reasons Why Students Fail the CIMA Strategic Case Study. Let's take a look. Reason number 1, I call it the requirement, the tasks, verbs, and skills. What do we mean? Failure to understand the exact meaning of the requirement is one of the biggest issues students face. Now, when we practice, right, through various tasks, various past paper applications, and even any mocks that you take, something that I notice all the time and something that examiners have been talking about over the years continuously is how students fail to answer the specific requirement. And that is what I mean here. This is also one key reason why SCS pass rates are so low. This usually stems from the impatience to start writing and the exam pressure you feel. So put yourself in the situation of the exam. Let's say at the moment you're sitting in front of the screen and you're taking the strategic case study, which is a high pressure exam. You've invested a lot. It's the culmination of your entire CIMA education career. You feel a lot of pressure and you feel like you have a 3-hour paper and you are impatient to get started on the writing part, right? You want to write, and I know that you want to write valid, important, relevant answers, but that impatience should not be getting ahead of your ability to understand the requirement and put down a good answer. Often students read the task and misrepresent the requirement in their mind by projecting it to a task they feel like is what is asked. And this must be avoided at all costs. What do I mean by this? You see, what happens is, as students, you work with a lot of material, you watch a lot of videos, you do your prep work, and which is absolutely necessary. But one of the things during your prep work that you shouldn't do is to form ideas in your mind that these are some of the tasks that you might get. So if you decide that there will be a acquisition related variant, let's say you do a prep around that, you read up on acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions, post transaction related concerns, you read up on that, and then you go to the paper and one of the variants is suddenly an acquisition. Wow, we are so happy. And then what happens is your brain starts pitching all the ideas, all the things that you started reading about acquisitions to you. And then you read the task, you might end up projecting what you know as the answer to whatever requirement that you see. That is why it's very important that you are patient and you keep yourself calm and you read the requirements again and again, twice or thrice if needed, to make sure that you understand it. Or else, by misunderstanding the requirement, students end up writing irrelevant answers. And therefore, you lose precious time and ultimately marks, and that can lead to failure. This is considered to be one of the biggest reasons why students fail not only the CIMA strategic case study, a lot of case study exams, case study type exams, and even in general, a lot of exams, even in the ACCA forum, ACCA aspect, we see this major issue in the professional level papers where students don't take the necessary time to understand the requirement and then end up writing bad answers, low quality answers, irrelevant answers, and ultimately fail. This is reason number one for why students fail the CIMA strategic case study. Let's take a look at reason number two, the OTQ subject content. I kind of phrase this as, do you know? One of CIMA's fundamental ethical principles is for the student or the CIMA member, the CIMA past finalist or exams complete student, whoever it is, right? From the day you start your CIMA career and you get your diplomas, you're supposed to follow the fundamental ethical principles, which are 5, one of which is being professionally competent, knowing what you're supposed to know. So with respect to the OTQ content, you are supposed to be professionally competent. CIMA expects its strategic case study students to be the most competent because you are the final level students. So you're supposed to know everything that you've learned until the CIMA strategic case study. Right? It is one thing that I want to highlight here is that it is not really about the knowledge. Right? It's not about, so don't misunderstand this idea. Don't think that I'm asking you to go back and download or buy all the Kaplan or BPP or whatever material and start reading all of them as your prep. It's not about that. The strategic case study is a very practical paper. The answers that you write require practical answers. They don't test direct theory. But they definitely, in the exam, the way the exam is designed, the requirement is for you to display your competence. So it is not about knowledge. It is purely about you displaying your competence smartly. Can you show the examiner? Can you display to the examiner that you are someone who is capable, who knows what you're talking about, and that your judgment, your business acumen is good, and the examiner should trust your answer? Can you do that? Professional competence and due care. That's what I'm getting at. Which is why you need to know your content. You need to know your subjects. CIMA doesn't want to promote incompetent individuals as their graduates because that will flood the market with mediocre competence and ultimately blow back on CIMA's reputation. So there's a practical and a business and reputational angle and a reputational risk, not only for CIMA, but for any educational qualification. You see this, because you don't really want to be flooding the market with graduates who ultimately might be considered not very competent, because it will affect their reputation in the medium to long run. So make sure that you think about this. The strategic case study demands that you as a student must be competent in the relevant OTQ subject content, which is why you have the core activities. And the CIMA case study blueprints give you enough direction, enough advice, the right guidance to understand what kind of areas you should be savvy at. Right? So to be a competent business professional, you don't necessarily need to know every single word that your entire CIMA career and all of your OTQ subjects, that's 4 subjects in the foundation level, 3 into 3, 9, 9 plus 4, 13 subjects that you have learned. That's not what I'm meaning here. Like I said, it's not about knowledge. It is definitely about competence. Are you a competent business manager? That's the test. So when students display a lack of competence and awareness, this means that the solutions with the right evidence-based judgment is not provided. And so the answer cannot be trusted. So when you write an answer, you have to back your answer with evidence, and that evidence, that display of correct judgment, is heavily supported by your ability to use the content that you've learned so that the examiner can trust your answer. And when you are unable to do that, when you fail to do that, the examiner knows this is not someone we should be passing, right? And the exam, the marking guidance, right, the way the marks are allocated clearly addresses the competences. So if you're not competent enough, you will be at a lower level, which means you will get lower marks, you will not get your 80 marks, and you will end up failing. So be a little smart about going back to your theory, not overdoing it, not doing it too less, but making sure that you understand what a competent CIMA graduate is expected to know. Right? Just to show you the entire slide, there you go. Okay. Reason number 3, I call it the context, and this is kind of my favorite. So pre-scene plus industry, let's see how it works. To solve any problem effectively, context is critical, don't you think? It is. Whatever problem you may face in your life, you need to first understand and evaluate the situation, because you can't apply a solution that works in the US to the United Kingdom, because the environments are different, the situations are different, the systems are different. So context is critical. You can't go and apply a solution in the media and entertainment industry to run about how about sharing business. That's what I mean here. So how does CIMA expect you to do that? CIMA helps you. For the CIMA SCS, context is provided by 2 components. One is the pre-scene, which sets the standard basic scene. So you know what the company is, you know where the company is located, you know all the relevant information that you're supposed to know at a very basic level. You understand the picture that you're operating in. And then to add to that, on the day of the exam, you get the unseen, which provides the context of the crisis to be addressed. So when you take a look at the case study, it will either be a crisis or even an opportunity, right? Something that relates to a decision that is supposed to be made. So if you're trying to make a decision, you're supposed to know context well, which is why the pre-scene analysis is a very important aspect in prepping for the case study. Not only that, by providing the pre-scene early, CIMA expects the student to know the macro and industry, macro environment and the industry surrounding the company. So ask yourself the question, are you familiar with the macro environment of the hoverboard sharing industry in this case, for this sitting? Or the micro mobility industry itself, right? The industry of personal mobility devices. Are you familiar? That's why you get the pre-scene a couple of months before, because you know the industry, you can do your prep work. You can be an industry insider, which is the word that CIMA uses. You're supposed to be an industry insider. It fundamentally tests your ability to be adaptable. Can you adapt to different situations and respond fast, quick? That's what CIMA tests. So this fundamentally relates to the core activity, which evaluates business ecosystem and environment. When you even evaluate the 5 core activities, you realize that 2 of them relate a lot to the environment and the ecosystem of the business. Why would CIMA out of 5 dedicate 2 core activities to understanding overall strategy within the ecosystem and the environment? That is because, plain and simple, ecosystem and environment is just another synonym for context that you're operating in, the situation, the circumstance. And when students fail to grasp the context well enough, the answer becomes a mundane presentation that doesn't solve the problem at hand effectively enough. So if the strategic case study variant is a solution requirement, for a problem that the business is facing. And if you don't really understand the situation, if you haven't read the pre-scene well, if you haven't really decoded the industry well, if you haven't really been able to understand and put yourself and make yourself like an industry insider, you don't understand the numbers, if you haven't worked with evaluating the financials provided in the pre-scene, if you don't understand how the board of directors work, right? If you don't understand the macro environment, your answer will not have that quality of relevance and applicability to effectively solve that particular problem. And this is another reason where students fail. The inability or the lack of grasp of context. The pre-scene analysis, industry, and macro environmental analysis. These are critical aspects in prepping for your paper. What is reason number 4? Pre-framing answers, or I call it the closed mind. This is something that I've noticed with some students who have come to me after failing the exam. And sometimes when students come to me, I try to get, if they've attempted any mocks or if they've attempted any past paper variant questions, I try to get their answers and see what has happened. And something that I notice here is this sort of problem. Some students walk into the exam with various predetermined notions of the exam. One good example is trying to talk about variance with those who have sat the exam, which CIMA frowns upon for very good reason. Right? So you tend to see these discussions happening, and you can't really avoid it. And if you have a friend who has taken the exam, obviously you're going to have a chat, but you do it under pressure. You do it under pressure, and you don't really have the time to listen to your friend for hours and hours. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get some pointers. It's something that happens. We can't avoid the reality of it, but it's very, very frowned upon by CIMA. Another example is when students try to do question spotting in various ways. This kind of practice simply closes the student's mind, which is quite dangerous and drastically increases the risk of failure. Now, I absolutely don't recommend students trying to do this. In fact, even in some of the other papers I teach, when students come and ask me, can you guess some questions? Can you give us the areas that we might get? Can you try to predict certain areas? I've been teaching for a decade now, and I have never done that. Right? Because it's very, very dangerous, especially in the CIMA strategic case study. Because once you think that this is the area you're going to get, what you're going to do is it's definitely going to draw a boundary, draw a circle around. Your mind is going to close up on that. Right? Which means your ability to openly think is limited. And you walk into the exam with that mindset. And even if you get a question, let's say you have a chat with someone and that someone tells you that this is the sort of variant you got, okay, fine. But you haven't really read it. And that person just sat for the exam. That person doesn't remember word to word of what exactly the variant was. And imagine that you talk to a third person and that third party had misunderstood the question. So you're being pitched a misunderstood version of the question. And now you frame your mind. You decide that this is okay, this is what I'm going to get. And then you walk into the exam, you read the variant. Either out of haste, you start writing the answer that you thought you should be writing because of what you heard. Or you panic to see that this is not what you expected. And then end up failing. Either way, this puts you in a very dangerous, very risky situation. Don't do that. Have an open mind. You know why? Because the CIMA SCS is a highly unique and practical paper which tests the spontaneous, creative problem-solving capability of the student. I'll repeat that. It's a very important line. The CIMA SCS is a highly unique and practical paper which tests the spontaneous, creative problem-solving capability of the student. Spontaneity. Can you provide solutions spontaneously on the just live, real time. If a problem comes at you, that is what CIMA expects, because you're simulating the day in a business, right? You're simulating a day within a business. You're getting a mail. That mail has an issue. You're supposed to think on your feet and be able to answer. Creative. You should have an open mind. Some students, right, after they pass, we have chats, we have discussions. And when you hear what they say, and because they don't remember what they wrote after they had taken the exam, but they definitely start remembering what they wrote after they get the pass. And some students have told me that they've written very practical, very creative solutions, and the examiners have a tendency to reward that. If it's relevant and if it caters to the requirement, definitely those are rewarded. So if you walk into the exam with a closed mind, you're unable to do that. So spontaneous, creative problem solving capability is what is tested. When it comes to failure, when you attempt the paper with a narrowed down mind, you're unable to see the freedom that the SCS provides to creatively solve a problem. Therefore, end up writing answers with limited effect, and ultimately that can lead to failing the exam. Keep this in mind. And the final reason, number 5, for why students fail the CIMA strategic case study among other exams as well, is presentation. I call it the writer's dilemmas. Whatever you do, however much you prep, the CIMA SCS is, end of the day, an exam in the written form. You present a written document. It's not verbal. It's not acting on stage, right? It's not a speech that you make. And it's not a MCQ paper where you tick off the right answer out of 4. It's a written form paper. The presentation of your business solutions have to be written, or in other words, typed. And the solution you write has to cater to certain demands and have basic qualities. So these answers that you type and write, there are certain basic qualities that the examiner expects, such as 1, written within a limited time frame. For one task, you have 60 minutes, only 60 minutes. So you have to cater to that. Addresses the exact requirement. You should be answering the question that is asked. You can't go haywire and write whatever you want. Whatever you write has to cater to what is asked. Displays sound business acumen and sensible decision making capability. So whatever you've written has to represent your ability, your business acumen. It has to express that you have a very sound financial knowledge. You should be professionally competent. It should be backed by good business judgment. And the decisions, the recommendations that you make, the suggestions that you make, the evaluations that you make, the assessments that you do, right, have to help whoever is reading, has to show the examiner that you are a really capable individual who deserves to pass the CIMA case study and graduate and go on to becoming the next business leader in your organization or in the world. And whatever you put down on the screen, on paper, it should be clear, clarity, clearly written, with decent use of correct grammar and vocabulary. So look, grammar, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Nobody's grammar is perfect unless you're an English major. Right? It doesn't really have to be perfect, but it has to make sense. There is a decent level of grammatical correctness that helps, because when answers are grammatically really messed up, really incorrect, the clarity of the answer is lost. And obviously, I don't want to stress too much of it, because anyway, you wouldn't have ended up at the SCS level if your English has been really bad. So we can just barely touch on that. But let me touch on vocabulary. What I mean by vocabulary is not necessarily the fact that you have you're a walking thesaurus, or you have a dictionary with you all the time. That's not what I mean. It's business vocabulary, to be specific. Right? You can't be repeating the same words. You should have enough vocabulary in your head so that you don't fill your writings. You don't use fillers, unnecessary fillers, to fill in the gaps, to sort of show the examiner that you can write something instead of writing what the examiner wants. So clarity and decent grammar and decent vocabulary are critical in a written form exam. These characteristics have to be catered. And when you haven't practiced enough, when you haven't practiced writing, right, it's only by luck that a student walks into the CIMA strategic case study exam, and if that is the first ever attempt as a practice session, haven't practiced at all, if that student passes, it's purely by luck. It's purely because of God's grace, probably, right? If you believe in that sort of thing. But unless that's the case, you or me or whoever, if we don't practice, if you don't practice to ensure that whatever written answer that you present caters to those requirements that I've laid out, even if you do everything else right, you fail to ultimately present your good work to the examiner, which is ultimately what gets marked, and therefore there's failure. Remember that the fifth and one of the most critical reasons why students fail the CIMA strategic case study exam is because the presentation, the final stage, the presentation, the written form of presentation is not done at the expected standard. These are the 5 reasons why students fail the CIMA SCS. In summation, 1, when students misunderstand the task, they tend to fail the exam. 2, lack of the display of professional competence, not being able to convince the examiner that you are a student worth or deserving that pass because you display good competence. 3, failure to grasp the overall business context surrounding the unseen variant that you get surrounding the task. 4, preconceived notions leading to a tunnel vision approach, right? Framing your mind, closing your mind, drawing boundaries within your mind by various techniques, and ultimately ending up limiting your creative, spontaneous problem solving capability. And the 5th one is failure to present the final written format solution at the required standard. These are the 5 reasons why students tend to fail the CIMA SCS. So what am I saying? If I'm saying anything, all I'm saying is pay attention. If you have failed the SCS, okay, if you have failed, it's perfectly all right. It's not the end of the world. Don't worry. It's okay. Everybody fails exams, right? Exams doesn't mean that you failed in life, and exams are definitely not a metric to measure a person's ability in life. So it's okay. Nothing to worry about. All you need to do is look back, reflect, and figure out where you went wrong. I do this with students who come to me. We just have a chat and we discuss and we look back. Right? We use all these different tools. You can use all these 5 reasons that I gave you with good detail. You can, if you have failed, you get the specific feedback from the exam in the portal. You can check those, use those, see where you are not competent. And that's why they use the word incompetence. See where that issue is and address that. Fix it and get it done and simply move forward. But if you haven't failed, and if this is the first time you're taking the strategic case study, even better, take into account these factors. Right? This video is as much relevant to you as it is to students who have failed the exam. Take into account these factors during your prep. Right? While you prepare, remember these, address these. Address them while you prep for the case and get it done and move forward. Right? So this is what I have finally to leave you with when it comes to discussing the 5 key reasons why students end up failing the SCS. Because if we know the reasons, if we know what causes such an effect, we can go back to the roots and we can definitely fix the problem. So that marks the end of the video titled 5 reasons why students fail the CIMA SCS. Thank you for watching, and I genuinely hope that this will help you ace your exam. Just get it done and move forward, like I said. And I'm truly thankful for everyone who's been encouraging me and who's been supporting me in this journey. And I'm really glad that the content has been helping numerous students. The response I've been getting is quite positive, and I'm genuinely thankful. I'm also hoping to, because there are so many different questions that come up, I'm also hoping to organize a live Q&A for students who are taking the case study exams in August after 26th, I believe. So if you're interested, definitely just drop a comment below, write to me, let me know. You can connect with me through social media, through Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube, email. And we can definitely look at how I can help you, I can guide you, I can give you the right advice among all the other various sources of help you have to make sure that you pass the exam. The decently large enough investment, even the paper, it's a risk. Most of you are self-employed or employed and you fund it yourself, about 250, 300 GBP. So we need to, you need to do your best to ensure that, it doesn't go to waste. And that is something I'm genuinely interested in, to help students to the best of my ability. This is something that I built a good portion of my career on. So thank you all. I will, if you like the video, any thoughts, any comments, you can drop them below. I will probably see you soon with another video, depending on the feedback and the responses I get. Thank you all. Ace your exams and all the very best. This is AZB signing out. Good luck.